Hello, folks. It's the end of the first quarter of 2022, and what's the real estate market doing right now? Um, it's it's been an even crazy high demand and rising prices this first quarter. So as predicted, the prices were going to continue to rise, but we had expected the rate of increase to be lower, but that's not happening. This continue to rise at a crazy high pace. Interest rates have risen, but the what's happening in Ukraine, rising interest rates, inflation, none of that seems to be impacting the demand for housing right now. So what are the buyers doing? Are you a frustrated buyer right now? And are you like just about to just quit and give up? Here's three things I'm going to recommend to you, something that I've been talking to a lot of my buyers about. The first thing is pivot. Let's look at your criteria and like tweak it a little bit and see what else we can do. And in terms of broadening your market, are we looking at a slightly higher price point? Are we looking at locations that we hadn't looked at before? If you were considering only single family homes, consider townhomes as well. If you were considering really young, updated homes, consider some that are a little dated as well. So pivot to a new reality sort of, and make it happen is what I would say. The second thing I have been telling my buyers and what we've been working on is really educating. So when the home comes on the market and we're ready to put an offer, my buyers know what to expect, right? Figure out what the strong offer would entails, a strong buyer entails, and you're going to need that when you are competing against 4, 5, 7 offers, really. And the third thing is putting things into perspective for you historically. When you think of housing, it's very easy to get caught up in your own home, in your own life right now. Oh, my home for the next 5 years or 7 years, or whether my kids are going to live in my home or whatever. Just giving you a different perspective. If you think hundreds of years, if you think of the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers and the Carnegies when they made their money in, however they made their money, or even the royalty in Europe, the dukes, the duchess, how somehow they all invested in real estate. And if you look at hundreds of years later, it was amazing how the real estate held its value. Their fortunes otherwise may come and go, the businesses may come and go, but real estate has just increased in value over hundreds of years, right? So putting things into perspective, don't get scared like you would of the stock market. First of all, this market is not a bubble, so the prices are not going to drop anytime soon, trust me. And if they are, it all depends on what kind of home you're bidding on. A well-maintained home in a good neighborhood, in a good location, will always retain its demands, right? The ones that will drop in price are the ones that have negatives associated with it, and I've been saying that in my previous videos as well. So pivot to a new reality on what your money can fetch for you. Understand the contracts and what kind of negotiation you can do in this market and what kind of offer you'll have to put in to win in the multiple bid situation. And put things into perspective. If you're renting currently, don't pay your landlord's mortgage, pay your own and build your own equity. If you are needing to sell to be able to buy, you need to buy another home before you can sell your home. Just remember your home is going to sell at a premium too. So if it feels like you're paying a lot for the home that you're buying, well, you're going to sell at a high price too. So that sort of, makes up for it. So a few myths that I want to dispel here. It is not a bubble, like I said. We've been saying that for for several years now. We do not anticipate the prices to go down. The demand just far exceeds supply. So we don't have enough new builds. The builders are not able to build the homes fast enough. There's a whole millennial generation. Millennials are buying homes right now, and we just don't have enough homes for them. And yes, there may be shifts in markets. There's the new commutes have gone away. It is the millennials, and they're looking for different kinds of homes relative to what the baby boomers had. So yes, there are some shifts, and so the same thing doesn't apply to every kind of home or every kind of location. But recognize that shift and make sure that your realtor is talking to you about those ideas. And everybody talks about low inventory, and I have to dispel that myth. The inventory is not low, right? It is not a low inventory. It's not that there are not enough homes on the market. It's just that there are not enough to meet the demand, right? More homes sold in 2021 than they did in 2020, and more homes sold in 2020 than they did in 2019. So the sale of homes has continued to increase up to 2022. This first quarter, our sales have gone down, right? We just didn't have enough homes on the market and enough listings that the buyer demand was so high. So while we were expecting the price increases to be low this quarter in this year, the price increases in some areas or some neighborhoods have been crazy just because of lack of inventory. So this quarter, I will say, yes, there is lack of inventory, but the last couple of years, it's just that the demand far exceeded the supply. So hope this helps. When you get frustrated as a buyer and you're putting in these multiple bids and still not getting the offers, just step back and, this is a perspective I want to leave with you today. Think of the 200, 300 years ago. I mean, think of the dukes and duchesses and the royalty in European countries, or think of the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers and the Carnegies. And however they made their fortunes back then, they all invested in real estate. Right? Real estate is one thing that you can buy and hold, and it's always going to pay off for you in the long run. So if you're renting currently, if you need to sell and buy, if you need to move up, I mean, the interest rates are still historically low. I had someone at an open house today who said his first home was 15% interest rate. So folks, yes, the threes have gone away, but the interest rate is still in the fours. So it is still a historically low rate. Lock that in, because one thing we know for sure is that the interest rates are going to rise. And, the foreclosures, that's another thing that everybody's talking about in the market. The foreclosures are at their lowest ever. I mean, the prices are so high. Why would anybody want to foreclose on their home? They're building equity. All homeowners are actually building equity. So, the foreclosures are not going to be there. So take advantage of this market still. Don't get exhausted. Make sure that you and your realtor have a plan and execute it, because there's nothing like home ownership. You're going to love it. I have buyers who are very happy right now that they took the plunge and made the decision. They just sort of decided that this is how we're going to do it, and they did it. And making that decision and doing it was important, right? So don't sit on the sidelines. Don't pay your landlord's mortgage. Don't let these low interest rates pass you by. I'm happy to hear your opinions. Please share some in the comment section below.